bizarre. But here we go. Because, you have to have this. BAFTA 2020, so now, the Golden Globes has been and gone after Ricky Gervais decided to tell everyone they're a prick, and quite rightly so. BAFTA 2020, do awards exclude women and black actors? Do awards. Not just award show, just all awards, even the Mobos and the Women of the Year awards. It's a debate winner. Do they exclude women and black actors? It's a very strange headline. As you can see there, when I took the screenshot, the volume was going up and down at the same time. So sorry about that. So, I would put it to you that there is a slight problem with this, as in, forget about black actors. Do awards to women and black actors. The fact is that there is a category called, two categories, Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress. So I don't know how you could exclude, just make a blanket statement like, do they exclude women? I was like, well, no, because there's awards specifically for them. I've kind of never understood why you have Best Actor and Best Actress, Best Male Singer, Best Female Singer. Is it because they just want to give out more awards? Why don't have Best Male Director and Best Female Director? It's not like it's a sport where you have to have male and female categories, although that's becoming a bit blurry these days, isn't it? But it's not like it's sport, is it? The physicalities of being an actor are pretty much the same for both men and women. There's not different weight divisions. Or maybe they should introduce that. I don't know, Best Fat Actor. I don't know. Anyway. But this is going to be a nonsense. Because, the Oscars get criticised. Well, of course, they got to criticise the BAFTAs now, haven't they? Because you have to. You just have to. So everyone's got to get on it. The BAFTAs have been criticised for a lack of representation after no non-white actors were nominated and no women were nominated in the Best Director category for the 7th year in a row. Okay, well, no non-white actors. Okay, forget about that for a second. No women were nominated in the Best Director category for the 7th year in a row. What films of merit have been directed by a woman in the last year? Let alone any films of merit in the first place. Think about the most high-profile director that's been in the public consciousness the past few months. Was it Elizabeth Banks for that film, that Charlie's Angels reboot that no one wanted? Can you think of anyone else? The woman, the female that directed the Little Women movie that no one watches, no one is watching because no one wanted another Little Women film. I remember the 90s one, but apparently there's like 7 of them or something like that. It's like, well, that's too many. Why do you think now is the good time to release another one? I don't know. Maybe because with the female thing. Look, I did a film production course, and I could tell you every single woman on that course, even the ones I don't know their names. I could describe them to you, and I could describe what accent they had, what they looked like, and whether I'd take them on a date or kiss them on the nose. I could tell you that not because they were particularly memorable. But because there was fuck all of them, and when you turn up at on a course or something, you are generally just looking around, eyeing out, going, I wonder who I'd bang in here. Her. It's just human. It's just human nature. It's a sausage fest. It's a sausage fest industry. Do you know what I mean? It's a sausage fest industry. Because I tell you what, there are a lot of women that are in many departments in the film industry who are killing it. There's many great female screenwriters. 2 of my favourite auteurs, Kubrick and Park Chan-wook, both consistently worked with, or work, as in Stanley Kubrick worked because he's dead, right? But they collaborated with female screenwriters. They created some fucking masterpieces. Look at the lady that I can't remember her name. Sorry about these name thing. Real memorable. Can't remember the name. That's what someone will write in the comments somewhere. And well, fuck you. But Scorsese's frequent collaborations with the female editor. I've forgotten her name. They revolutionised. They changed the game with the editing in Goodfellas. There's many great females in the film industry, but they don't have the glamorous roles that everyone wants. We know about actresses and stuff, but they're not directors and screenwriters. You don't get that many famous screenwriters. No one really worships screenwriters, do they? That's kind of the unsung. They're the unsung heroes of the film industry. They're the ones who are kind of notoriously not treated very well. Pretty much why they had a writer's strike, I suppose, all those years ago. But there's women killing it in the film industry. But it's not the glam. They're not the director. Ooh, they're not the director. There's no director. Because that's the only thing they can say is there's none nominated for best director. Directing's kind of a dude. I mean, there's a lot of female directors out there, but it's a very duty thing to do. Like music production. Just saying, I've done a film course, and I tell you what, majority of the women, the majority of the girls wanted to be producers. And there's a lot of big female producers out there. Some very prominent ones. And I hate to say Kathleen Kennedy. I know that name stirs. I know internet geeks go, "Ugh, she's the devil." I know they don't like that name. But she's been killing it for years. And of course, Gail Ann Hurd, who works side by side, who was married to James Cameron. He's married to fucking everybody. And Catherine Bigelow. He loves strong film women. Gail Ann Hurd, who produced many great films, where it was Aliens and Terminator films. There's a lot of prominent female producers. The two short fiction films that I worked on, one I directed and one I did sound for, there's both female producers. Across the board, there's a lot of, there weren't that many girls, but a lot of them were producers. Just saying, there's certain roles that women prefer to do. A lot of female editors as well. I worked twice with female editors. Mini documentary I did, which you can watch online. Female editor. Short film that I did sound for. Female editor. Did that have a film editor? Yeah, my other short film had a female editor. Just saying, there's certain things that women prefer to do to men. All right. Now with the whole black thing, this is as much as maybe back in the day, foreign language films probably got nominated for awards more often because I remember talking to my mum about when 8.5 by Fellini came out. She said, she went to watch it in the cinema. You wouldn't imagine people, when my mum, that's when my mum was like a teenage girl or early 20s or whatever. You wouldn't imagine girls going to watch a foreign language art house film in the cinema, would you? It being on major release. But it used to be like that. But the industry has changed. So what you got now is these award shows are pretty much just for Western films. And they got, and then there's the foreign film that gets its own award. And sometimes you get a few films that break through into the main category, but it's the Western civilization thing. And I don't know if you know about the Western civilization. So we're talking about, pretty much all these films are English language. It's the primary thing, And so we talk about America first, and then Britain, and that's it. And everything else is foreign, Or occasional Australia and New Zealand might, flock in. Because they're not foreign languages. It's English speaking. It's an English speaking thing. And we ain't talking about pidgin English, alright? So there ain't no pidgin English going to be in there, yeah? Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, alright, a lot of people speak English in Nigeria, but not enough. So don't get ickety-pickety about all this crap. It's an English language white industry, I hate to put it, because the majority of the people that live in these countries are white. So therefore, it just makes sense. Okay? And is there an underrepresentation of certain groups? Possibly, but it's not discriminatory. Because I tell you this, because capitalism doesn't really allow discrimination. This is something that I learned. It's just counterproductive. Like even the biggest racist will hire the best person for the job. Money dictates. I'll give you a good example of how bigotry gets fucked in the ass by capitalism. Socialism will never fuck something in the ass. Well, I love using this story, but Elephant Man, the Dancehall artist. You familiar with Elephant Man? Elephant Man had a few fruity lyrics, mainly about fruits. And no, I'm just trying to make a joke, very bigoted lyrics towards homosexuals. The dancehall tunes like, Chi Man, Batty Man Fee Dead. They're not Elephant Man tunes, but Elephant Man, often didn't have anything nice to say about the homosexual community. But then I remember there was an interview with him, confronting him about, his homosexual views and lyrics and so forth. And he said he turned a new leaf. He changed his ways. And they're like, well, why? What happened? Did your dad come out as gay or something? No, Elephant Man was like, no, my manager told me them. His manager told him that he was missing out on a hell of a lot of money because of the Pink Pound, and they are a group that is well known for having dispendable income, and therefore there was a whole market waiting to be tapped. So just the monetary value of homosexuals' spending habits was enough to make Elephant Man stop being so bigoted. That's right. This is how it fucking works. A racist system doesn't work under capitalism because it's just like, no, that's fucking with the money, you dickhead. And the thing is with representation is just fucking stupid. Because if you look at football's always a great example. Because football, there was always this thing about, it was probably the two of the biggest ethnic minority groups you got in UK are black, whereas Africa, West African and Caribbean, and also like Indian and Pakistani. And there's always this thing about, well, why aren't there any Indian and Pakistani players playing football? There's fuck all of them playing professional football. I don't think there's any. There was Michael Chopra, who played for England under 21s. That's the only one. But there's just none. There's never been any, because it's probably just something they're not interested in. So there's a really small representation of them. But if you look at the England football team, the national football team, it is over-represented by black people, because England is, and the UK is, 87% white. Okay. And the England football team was almost 50% black. It doesn't make sense. They say, well, where's the diversity quota? It's not representative. It's not representative of Britain, of England. Ethnically, it's not. There's an over-representation of black boys. Now, why is that? Because they discriminate against the whites? No. Probably it's by chance, or maybe culturally that young black boys just work harder, because you can have all the talent and athleticism in the world, but without a good work ethic, you ain't become shit. There's so many footballers that have squandered their talents, especially English footballers, just over the past couple of decades, from Francis Jeffers to Michael Bridges, Lee Hendry, that Morrison kid who's now playing for Ireland. He's not doing too well, is he? You could say Jack Rodwell right now. You know what I'm saying? Some people might say Ross Barkley. Shh. Who? Remember when everyone discovered that Ross Barkley's quarter black? No one knew. That was a crazy time. That. So it's just saying. Do you know what I mean? It's the representation thing just gets a bit silly, because certain cultures aren't interested in certain things. Certain people aren't interested in certain things. But they try to make it out like there's this big evil conspiracy against people, there's a racist system, even though the UK has consistently been found to be one of the least racist countries in the whole of fucking Europe. We're less racist than the Dutch, and the Dutch are all like, oh, that's just fuck, isn't it? It's ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous thing. Would you like to see more black and females get awards for stuff? It's like, I don't really care. Like, I just want to see people do well. Fuck an award. I just want to see people do well. You know? Do you know what I mean? Not everyone wants to be Noel Clarke. This comes a day after the Golden Globes had an all-male list of Best Director nominees. It's just a male. It's a fucking look at all the greatest producers and greatest directors of all time. They've all been men. Well, it's because women didn't get the opportunity. So how bad is it? And this is the other silly thing about all this. It's like, all right, it's the film industry. Remember when they were going on about how there was too many old white men who were film critics. It's like, in the grand scheme of the universe, it's not that important, is it? It's do you know what I mean? I think unemployment rates, stuff like that. That's, where, funny enough, where white males are doing the worst. Those are the sort of things you should be concerned about, But like, oh, there's not enough black directors. It's like, is it that? It's the film industry. It's like, making a sustainable career in the film industry is an incredibly difficult thing to maintain. So Ms. Berry did point to female directors being nominated in other categories, for example, for short films. Over the past decade, only about 5% of Bafta nominations for Best Actor, Actress, or Supporting Actor, Actress were non-white. Which is maybe not so in America. Representation, they got a larger black population, and Hispanic and so forth. But in the UK, as the UK awards, that's kind of representative of the country almost, isn't it? So it doesn't make sense. That's the BAFTAs, but what about the rest of the industry? Gender representation. Martha Lawson, director of the Center for Study of Women in Television and Film, I bet that's a hoot, at the San Diego State University, has been tracking women's employment in the film industry since 1998. Like I said, it's an entertainment industry. How important is the film industry in the grander scheme of the universe? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like going, the film industry, it's totally non-representative. There's just not enough representation. It's like, all right, what do you want? More female boom operators. Funny enough, all the boom operators I've met who work in the industry are female. I know a hell of a lot of female boom operators. But no, that's not glamorous enough, is it? No, that's not the glamour. We want them to be directors and stuff like that. It's like, all right. And it's in 2019, just 13% of directors on the 250 highest-grossing films were female. Her report on the celluloid ceiling found. It's like, how important is it to have female directors? How important is the film industry to the whole of society? I mean, how important is it? Does it matter that much? I can understand people concerned about females in, politicians, police force, whatever, teachers and shit. Film directors? Who cares? 9% of writers, 27% of producers, 21% of executive producers, 23% of editors, and 5% of cinematographers. Well, that's because men have got, more direct vision, whereas female have got more peripheral vision in it. We got different vision, so maybe that's why. I don't know. Although these figures represent recent historic highs, there hasn't been a great deal of movement during the 22 years Dr. Lawson has conducted the study. For comparison, in 1998, on the top 250 films, women made up 9% of directors and 13% of writers, 24% of producers, 18% of... Looking just at the 100 highest grossing films, the proportion of female directors tripled between 2018 and 2019 from 4% to 12%, but the figures remain low. You're talking about the highest grossing films. Just because something's really high grossing doesn't actually mean it's good, does it? Do you know what I mean? Like, crack sells a hell of a lot. You can make a hell of a lot of money selling crack and heroin, but it's not necessarily good. Do you know what I mean? It feels good, but it's not good though, is it? It ain't good. You know? Do you want more female drug dealers? There's not a lot of female drug dealers out there. Like, it's about as important as having female directors as having female drug dealers. We need 4 female drug dealers. This is how stupid this sounds. It's like, we need more female directors. Like, why? What if they just don't want to? You ever thought about that? Do you ever think that women just don't want to? This is something they never ask. It's like, they just don't want to. Like, I done music production as well, and like, there was fuck all girls on that course. Do you know why? Because girls have got better things to do than to sit in a dark room in front of a computer screen going, I need to sidechain my hi-hat there. I need more compression on my kick drum. I need to put some reverb on that fucking sidechain vocal. Like, you know, girls have got better things to do. They've got singing and dancing and cooking to do and shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, Ms. Lausen told advocacy group Women in Hollywood it was odd to talk about reaching historic highs when women remain so far from parity. And although the numbers had moved in a positive direction, men continue to outnumber women 4-1 in key behind-the-scenes roles. Oh, the key behind-the-scenes roles. No, they haven't mentioned boom operators or dolly groups or production designers or costume designers or anything like that. Because, no, it's got to be the key roles. Well, maybe they just don't want... You ever thought about they just don't want to? Or, heaven forbid, maybe women just don't make good film directors. As the same that men don't make very good mothers. You know? Do you know what there's a lot of, which they won't talk about, in the entertainment industry? Gays. There's fucking shitloads of them. Gays are overrepresented in the entertainment industry, especially musical theatre, and that ain't no joke. There's a lot of homosexuals. Was there too many? So why is there loads of homosexuals but not loads of women? If everything's so bigoted. More people are probably homophobic than racist. I guarantee it. I think that I put money on more. They're like, more people have homophobic tendencies than racial tendencies or sexist tendencies. I guarantee it. I guarantee that. So it kind of shits on it because they haven't said why. Where's the why? Is there going to be a why? Anyway, the Women in Hollywood site's news editor Rachel Montpellier also pointed out there was no change in the number of women working in key off-screen roles. Meanwhile, research commissioned by Directors UK, the professional association of UK screen directors, found on 2,591 UK films released between 2005 and 2014, 30.6% of directors were women. UK film students are broadly 50% male and 50% female, according to the research. I'm calling bullshit on that one. I did a film course, man. It was like fucking 15%, 20% girls. It was a fucking sausage fest, bruv. It was a literal sausage fest. There was more Lithuanians on that course than there was women. Lithuanians. You ever been to Lithuania? Have you ever met a Lithuanian? Well, I hadn't until the... Oh, no. Anyway, that's another story. The split is also about half and half, so it is as they progress further that the problem emerges. Or if that is true, that is 50-50. From my experience, it's not. Maybe things have changed. But maybe they go into areas, because they talk about directors. Maybe they just don't want to be directors. Maybe they just don't want to be. Or it just doesn't suit the female brain. So what is it? And why is it so important? Like, what is the point of all this is the main question, isn't it? What is the point? What are you trying to do? Is there a barrier? Because they brought black people into it and women. Well, they're fucking talking about women a hell of a lot, aren't they? The report published in 2016 suggested men were more likely to hire other men, while a lack of female role models may make it harder for women. I almost said we-male then. Women to progress sustained the outdated unconscious bias of the individuals within the industry. Shut up. The report said, well, what suggested men were more likely to hire other men? Well, can I see, was there a survey done? is this big? Because it seems like it's based on assumption. I think a lot of this stuff is just assumptions. Where's the data? Where'd you get the data from? Did you actively go out there and ask like male film producers and go, if there was a woman or a man up for the job, who would you employ? They wouldn't say, oh, definitely. They wouldn't even say definitely men, even if they thought definitely men. So I don't see where this comes from. So it's just an assumption. I'm telling you, this is just like, I guarantee this research is a nonsense. This is the problem with this kind of shit, you know what I'm saying? A report looking at 7 European countries, including the UK, found a similar drop-off in representation. In 2013, 44% of graduates entering the film industry were women, compared to 24% of working directors. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of, why aren't there more female directors? Because maybe they don't fucking want to. Same as why aren't there more female music producers? Why aren't there more female DJs? Like why isn't there something? Oh, there's got to be more female film directors. Maybe they just don't fucking want to. Did you ever think about that? Like, maybe they just don't want to. Who knows? Yo, woke up. Imperium 42. I'm talking about the lack of diversity at the Baftas, because apparently that's something important. It's so important, I had to read this article. It's not important, is it? White males in Hollywood. A study published last year by the University of California, Los Angeles, also looked at ethnic diversity in Hollywood. It found that of the 200 highest grossing films in 2017, 12.6% had non-white directors. Just 7.8% of the top films writers were from non-white background, despite making up 40% of the US population. These figures are more or less unchanged since 2011, when the first UCLA study was carried out. All right, so America is 40% non-white. Okay, that makes it kind of interesting. So the study said that from studio boardrooms and executive suites to the talent agencies that act as gatekeepers, the fundamental relation of production that center white males in Hollywood movie making remained largely intact. But this is the assumption that is. It's almost like 80% of people in America. Exactly. This is making the assumption that certain cultural groups want to do these things. Like I mentioned earlier, why are black boys overrepresented in British football? Why are there more black, in terms of, we're talking about like 5% of the population, if that. And yet, England football team's almost 50% black. Well, maybe about 40. It's a lot though. And then he's like, why aren't there any Indian and Pakistani professional footballers? Why? It was clearly not because of racism, right? Or preferences. Because no football manager is going to go, well, I'd rather pick the white player. Do you know what I mean? No one's going to choose Paul Gascoigne over Pele, are they? It's just, even if you're the biggest racist on planet Earth, even Ron Atkinson with his racist shit was one of the first people to give black players a break. Even, they labelled him a racist, but he still knew that, well, my racism doesn't win football matches, so I'll leave that one be. Do you know what I'm saying? The reason why do Indian and Pakistani boys not play football? I don't know, go ask them. Has anyone asked them? Because I just don't think they're interested. I think they want to do other stuff. Not everybody wants to be a film director. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone wants to sing and dance. Not everyone wants to be a fucking mechanic. My sister is a fucking engineer. She works for fucking Jaguar and Land Rover. She's one of the only female engineers there. She's been there for like 20 years. She was the first female engineer to work for that company. Because, do you know why my sister got into that? It wasn't like there was barrier. She said there was no problem. He said it was a bit weird, but there was no issues with her being a female there. She didn't have any feelings to work harder or to try and prove herself. She just worked hard. But my sister used to play with action men when she was a kid. My sisters are twins. My other sister played with Barbie dolls and shit. And she. And then my sister just played with action men and had short hair. That's what she was interested in. Like, boy stuff. Society didn't tell her to play with Action Man. She just did it. She just fucking go to the toy shops going, no, I want that. See what I mean? Like, certain people, you know, it said groups were still woefully underrepresented among directors, writers, and lead actors. And that's all they got to say. I don't just love how this article didn't delve into why. The assumption is the only thing that happened. Sorry, I'm just reading that chat. They just come up with these assumptions going, well, it's because of biases, instead of looking deep into it. This is why this culture is so fucking fucked. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, remember that James Damore dude who worked for Google, and they were trying to work out, you know, they're asking people to, you know, why aren't there enough women working in tech? And James Damore did his report and came back with his findings. And then they binned him off because they said he was sexist, even though he'd just said, oh, well, my research has discovered that this is a reason. And they just didn't want to listen to the research. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to listen to the actual reasons. They want to conjure up reasons because the whole world is evil, apparently. It's fucking bizarre, mate. It's so weird. It's just so weird. It's like, maybe you just don't want to. You know, people used to ask me, like, why do you like fat girls? I said, I don't know. They just give me a hard-on. I don't look deep into it and saying, maybe I was abused by a fat woman when I was 2 and that's why I like it. I don't know. Why aren't you into pencil thin bitches? I'm just not. You know. There's no particular reason. No. Why didn't you want to be an astronaut when you were a kid? I don't know, because it's fucking boring. God. You know, when you're a kid, it's not like a little girl walks into you know, parents' bedroom and saying, Mummy and Daddy, I've decided who I want to be. Or what's that? A film director. It's not like the old man says, no, that's man's work. Now get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. Women are only supposed to be actresses and costume designers. That never fucking happened. Never happened, mate. The fuck is that? Someone's trying to fucking hammer their way. So there's been a lot of banging upstairs. I swear someone is actually locked as a prisoner upstairs.